Hi guys. So I'm in the garage and I have my setup just behind me here. Some of you guys want to know the process that I'm using to polish my clubs. So let's get started. So this is my workbench, and as you can see in front of me here, I have a polishing machine. It's quite cheap. I think I bought it for around $150. To the right, we have a deburring wheel that is bought from Amazon. It has 180 grits. It's perfect when you want to level out deep scratches before you move on to the polishing side. I've also got 5 different polishing wheels. They are lying right here. And on top of my wall, I have also made a specific template that is telling me actually it's a guide on what polishing compound to be used for each different buffing wheels that I have. So here is the different polishing compounds, and here's the black one that I always start with using the Sisal wheel. So today we are going from this. As you can see, some pretty old Cobra irons lady clubs, which has been used for some time. They are going to be polished into this, which is looking quite nice. So let's get started. So this is the club I'm going to start working on today. As I mentioned, it's an old Cobra club, and the shaft is also quite rough. It has some old tape on it that I will remove later on, but I'm going to focus on the club head right now. So we'll start by using the Sisal wheel, which is this one, and it's quite hard. I'm not sure what it's made of really, but it feels like it's some kind of plastic or something in it. It's really hard, and it's perfect when you want to get rid of the large scratches on your clubs. So I always start with this one if there is big scratches on the club. So we put this on the polishing grinder machine, and I have these adapters with, looks sort of like screws. So you just screw them on. It's quite easy to remove and replace them with the wheels you are working with. And then we start with some polishing compound, and the Sisal wheel goes with the black one that I use. So we're going to start with this one, and then we are going to move on and change wheel to this Denim one. And the Denim one is going to be using the brown compound. After that, I'm going to move on with a yellow buffing wheel, which is a bit softer. And the yellow one is going to use the white compound. And then I move on to cotton, which is even softer. And the more you use these, the more compound will be stuck in them. So sometimes you need to clean them up. There are tools for that. I prefer to use an old saw. I'm gonna get the saw. I'm gonna show you how I do it. Yeah, just take an old saw, and then you start the polishing machine, and then you hold the saw like this just to scrape off the old compound which has been stuck on the wheel. That's how I do it. So now when I have used the cotton one, which I use the blue compound for, I move on to the final stage, which is the loose cotton, purely for just buffing the surface to make it as shiny as possible, and I use the green compound for that one. I don't always use it if I don't need to, but let's get started with the Sisal wheel. So another important thing that most people probably don't think of is not to use too much compound when you polish. It's better to use less and put on some new from now and then when you work on. If you don't, you will get a lot of compound stuck on your clubs, so you have to wipe them off all the time. So use this sparingly and just add some more when you from time to time. Let's get started. Okay, I usually start with the front of the club because I like to see results quickly, and this part is almost always quite clean compared to other sides. So I'll start by polishing this side to see what it looks like. Don't forget to put on safety protection glasses and other stuff. I use these basic ones for the mouth, breathing, and just these ones. Put some compound on. Just going to remove that. This happens from time to time. And stop. Okay, that didn't take long. Just wipe it off a little bit, and you can clearly see that it has already made a big difference. Much more shiny, but we will still be working on it. And the Sisal Wheel is the one that's going to make the biggest difference when you start. And from my experience, when working with the sole here, it's important to try different angles or directions when you use the polishing wheels. That goes also for the deburring wheel when you use that one, which I'm not going to use on these clubs. But the reason is because, as you can see, when the light reflects on it, you can see the scratches in different angles. And I've heard that metal has grain in it, and if you are working in the wrong direction, it's harder to remove the scratches. So I usually polish my soles in this direction because that has given me the best result so far. On the front, this side is working best. So I'm not sure why, but that's the way I do it. So let's move on. Put some gloves on. Put some more on. starting to look a lot better than they was before, getting more shiny. And I think you also notice that I've kept the shaft on, and most of the time I do that. I don't have any problems using the polishing machine with the shaft on. As long as you have a lot of space around, you can do that. But if I'll be refurbishing some other gloves for a client, I will remove the shaft. These ones I bought myself and I'm going to sell them on, and I'm saving time instead of removing them and gluing them together again. And as I said, I don't have any problems having it on. It's obviously easier if we have removed the shaft, but I don't have any problem with it. So as you can see now, the Sisal Wheel did some good job. It's still lots of work to be done, but it looks way better than it was before, and it's looks quite shiny, I'd say. Let's change the wheel to the Denim wheel, which is this one, and also change compound. The reason why I have different wheels and compounds is that they are applying different pressure and remove scratches more or less like sandpaper. And you don't want to mix. You don't want to put on different compounds on the same wheel. So the first thing you should do is buy different wheels for each compound. So don't mix them up. Very important. I've tried that before. When I started with this, I just had 2 wheels, and then I used different compounds and tried to clean the wheels after each use. But it doesn't work that well. So you will never get that really good finish if you are using one wheel with different compounds, because you still got, let's say, some of the black one on the same wheel, and if you start to polishing, you move on to the final step and want to have that super shiny look, and you have some black compounds left on, it will probably not be better. You will see the scratches. So let's move on with the brown or slash brown reddish compound and the Denim wheel. Here we go, even better. And normally of course, I use the Sisal wheel first on everywhere that I want to. And now this is just, I'm just showing you the steps I'm using. So normally you go with the Sisal wheel everywhere, and then you move on with the next wheel everywhere, and so on. So I've just started using on the sole and here on the neck. Just to give you an example of what it can look like. And the face is something that I usually save for last. and depending on what it looks like. And sometimes I also use sandpaper with very fine grain grits, around 1000, 2000, just to even out a little bit. You don't want this part to be too shiny either, so what I can do is to use a sandblaster to tape each side here when I have polished them, and then use the blaster to make it a bit rough and give it more of a satin feeling. Or I can use the Scotch Brite pads that I've talked about on Facebook previously. I like those because it's a very basic process and it gives you a really great result, depending on what the face looks like and if you need to work on it before. If you have big scratches, probably gonna leave them as it is if you don't want to remove the plating, which will of course make the club rust. Otherwise, just go with Scotch Brite. I'm going to show you what they look like. The Scotch Brites are basically sheets that looks like this. So what I do is I cut them in smaller pieces, and then I just put them on a flat surface. I put tape over here and here just to protect these sides. They are obviously not polished right now, but when they are. And then I start by dragging this Scotch Brite like this from one direction to another, and keep doing so until I have an even, flat, nice surface. So that's the way how I use those. Now in this cavity spot, as you can see, it's quite dirty. And I think it's also have lost a bit of its color. So we'll see if I do anything with this one. What I usually do is that I clean the club even more. Here I use this microfiber cloth with some cleaning gear. I also use steel wool with WD-40 just to softly try to remove any surface dirt that is on them without removing the color in this case. So I'm going to start keep moving this one, so we'll see the end result. I'm going to fast forward so you don't have to look at this all the time, but I'm going to move back to the Sisal wheel and walk over everywhere, and then step over the next wheels and so on. So just stay tuned. Okay, so I'll notice that there's a little nick over there, as you can see, perhaps. So I'm going to carefully use the deburring wheel. Not too much, just a little, to even it out a little bit. We don't want to remove the plating. You can use that one if you are very careful and don't push too hard, and don't let the club stay on that one too long. I'm going to just move here slightly back and forth just to even this out a little bit before I start polishing again. Okay, so I think I'm satisfied with the denim wheel and we'll move on with the jello one and change buffing compound once again. This one is much softer than both Sisal and Denim, and with the yellow one I always use the white one. Sometimes a little bit of the polishing compound gets stuck on some spots, so you have to remove it from time to time. That's why I'm using this cloth for. Besides, I don't want to keep a compound from the previous round when I'm changing to a new one. I also noticed that there are still a little bit deeper scratches over here, so I'm gently just going to use the deburring wheel here as well, very, very gently. Once again, we don't want to ruin the plating, so carefully, just touch up a little bit. Alright, had some malfunction, the battery ran out and we are back, and I've just changed the wheel from jello to the cotton wheel. So I'm going to start to buff a little bit with that one now before we move on. I'm going to put on some blue compound. Start all over again. And as you have noticed, I also polished the face on these clubs. I usually don't do that if the surface is more like a blasted surface, but this one was kind of shiny from the beginning, so I'm just leveling out the scratches as much as I can, and then I will move on with the Scotch Brite on this face. I have a sandblaster as well, but I'm not going to use it on this club actually. We'll see how it goes with the Scotch Brite. Okay, I think I'm pretty pleased with the result for now. Actually, I have to clean up the cavity, of course, as well, and the shaft is also going to get cleaned up. I'm going to remove this old tape, it's the protective tape, and clean it up. But for now it looks good when it comes to shininess, and I think I've removed as much as I dare to without destroying the plating. And because if I do that, the club would start to rust, and we don't want to do that, do we? And I don't have no intentions to replate these ones anyway. So let's move to another station where I will start using the Scotch Brite to fix the face. Alright, we'll move position. Now I'm going to fix the face, so I'll start by masking out the polished area of the club, which is obviously just outside the face. Just put a masking tape on. That will do for this purpose. If I would use sandblaster, I would use masking tape and then put aluminum tape on it as well, just to be safe that I would use this tape on top of this one, to make sure that the blasting media is not going through the tape. But we're not going to do that right now, so masking, this basic masking tape will do just fine. And then we start by using Scotch Brite, and I usually just use a scissor and cut out these small pads, because I think they are much easier to work with. And then I just start by holding this as level as I can and go from one side to another. As you can see, I start all over, start to end, and then I'm going to do the same from the other side. I'm not sure you can see any difference in the camera, but I can see it for sure. So carefully try to drag this Scotch Brite in the same direction all the time, because you want to have this same level of brushed metal for the face. At least that's what I'm trying to achieve on these clubs. And then I'll do the same, but from the opposite side. And the result is actually quite good. Consider I'm not using a sandblaster. Obviously a sandblaster would make it even better, but then again I would have to work a lot more with the surface here, and as I said before, I don't want to mess up with the coating to make this part rusty. Just make sure you take all the edges out so there will be a crisp line when we remove the tape. This face needs to be cleaned afterwards as well. Alright, I'm pretty much done with the face. It's going to be cleaned up as well, but this is the result so far. You can see it looks quite nice. If we compare it to with the another club that hasn't been done yet, you can clearly see that's the big difference on the face. So now I'm going to start to clean up a little bit, remove some dust. And the grooves on this particular club looks quite nice. I'm not going to do anything about them. I'm just going to remove dust and crap who has got stuck in them through the years. And usually I just use an old brush, toothbrush, with some cleaning solution. This is actually for cleaning remove wax from cars, but it works pretty nice for this purpose as well. So I'll start by using the toothbrush, and there is a lot of dark dust or whatever it is, old grass, dirt within the grooves that I'm trying to remove without destroying the surface. So I'm using this toothbrush for that as much as I can, but it's not going to get rid of everything. So what I usually do then is that I use this needle and just gently push like this. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but it loosens all the dust within the grooves. Making it look almost new again. I could use a steel brush as well, but then I would have needed to start with that, and since I have polished this one already, I think it's a little bit too late to start using a steel brush. Don't want to do that job again, do we? Normally I do this kind of job before I even start polishing the clubs. I mean, clean up, remove paint fills and so on, but this video is about polishing. Okay, let's clean this mess up again. All right, let's see the end result. Just gonna remove the tape. 1 and 2, and there we have it. Quite nice. It's almost as new, except for this part. So I'm gonna clean that a little bit too. I also noticed that some of the color has been ripped off in this cavity, so if I put some more effort into these clubs, I'll probably just remove the paint and repaint the back of it. But I don't think I'm going to do that with these clubs anyway. I think I'm going to find a buyer who is just satisfied with the result. After all, they are a couple of years old, so okay, let's try the steel wool. I have one. There it is. That will do. That will do for now. All right, here we have it. Polished and ready to be almost sold. I just need to fix the shaft and remove the tape, but I'm not going to show you how to do that in this video. It's quite an easy process after all. It just takes time. I usually heat this up and then I'm using my nails to tear it off and then just clean it. That's it. Thanks for watching. All right, here's the final result. Before and after. And remember, I haven't touched the plating, so this one won't rust. Face looks clean and nice compared to the old one. It just takes time.